The glass shattered before it hit the floor. That's the moment I remember first, the sound sharp final like a verdict. I was holding a pot of burnt coffee, the kind that stains your hands, and your pride was in my booth. The cracked vinyl by the window, signing papers like my diner, was his office calm casual untouchable billionaire. CEO energy doesn't ask permission, it takes space. I saw the pen pause, I saw the flourish, the hook at the end of the last letter. My father's hook. Sir, I said too evenly, because panic is a luxury I stopped affording years ago. That's my dad's signature. He looked up, watched his pupils dilate the glass, slipped it shattered, and in that second, I knew two things were true at once. I was not crazy, and he knew exactly who I was. That's the inciting moment, but it wasn't the beginning, it never is. I met him years before the diner, before the grease burns and split shifts, before my father died with a lawsuit hanging over his name like a noose. Back then, I was engaged to the idea of a future and to the man who would later learn how sharp my patience could be. My ex, my betrayer, worked in mergers, spoke in margins and timing, loved efficiency, loved me because I was uncomplicated. So he thought he introduced me to power quietly, like a secret dinners where the silverware was heavier than my rent parties, where smiles were contracts. That's where I first saw the Cianot up close across rooms, always, signing something, always surrounded by men who nodded too quickly. My father was a small manufacturer, honest, meticulous, signed his name the same way every time, because he believed consistency was character. He taught me that taught me to notice details. When my father's company collapsed, they said it was his fault, bad deal, bad judgment. The signature on documents that transferred everything he owned, his machines, his patents, his dignity, to a shell company that fed a monster at the top. The monster had a name, the monster had a CEO. I believe the narrative at first grief makes liars of us all. Then I noticed things. The patterns came quiet. Limey X stopped answering certain calls. She locked his laptop, flinched when my father's name came up once, half asleep. He whispered it like a curse. I didn't confront. Jaime watched. I found a forwarded email loan attachmenta, scanned contract, me father's signature. On a page he would never have agreed, that the ink was wrong, the pressure was wrong, but the hook was perfect. Forged by someone who had studied it. I memorized DTZ, memorized amountsy, memorized the way betrayal smells sterile, like printer toner and expensive cologne. I left my ex without a scene packed, my things like I was tidying a crime scene. He didn't chase me, didn't have to, I thought I was done. I took a job at the diner because it was anonymous, because it gave me time, because nobody looks twice at a waitress refilling coffee. That was my mistake. People look right through you, which is better. I didn't cry planned. I requested records under my father's name. I learned corporate law at night, the way other people binge shows. I tracked shell companies. Like Constellation C, found the law firm that notarized the forged documents. He found the junior associate who cut corners and the senior partner who signed off. I learned one thing that mattered. Everything depends on timing. So I waited. I waited until the CEO's company went public. Waited until my ex got promoted for facilitating acquisitions. I waited until the diner became a habit for him, a place he liked because it made him feel grounded, because power likes to cosplay humility. And then he signed those papers in my booth. Back to the present, the shattered glass, his eyes on me. That's impossible, he said. Quietly, he didn't raise his voice. Men like him don't need to. I set the coffee down. My hands didn't shake. Me father taught me his signature before he taught me my times tables. Silence thickened. The lawyers with him stopped breathing. One of them looked at the papers like they might bite. I smiled, not for him, for myself. I had already sent the Celeste, the forensic analysis, the emails, the notarization logs, the recorded call, where my ex bragged about fixing the paperwork, all cued, all timed. The CEO stood his chair, scraped, didn't look at me again. He didn't have to. He knew. The fallout wasn't loud. It never is when it's done right. The SAC announcement hit first, then the lawsuits, then the board's surprise. The stock dipped, then bled. The law firm settled quietly. The associate flipped. The partner resigned for health reasons. My ex called me 12 times. I never answered. I sent one message that mattered. How did you know? I didn't reply. Knowledge is power. Silence is domination. The CEO didn't go to prison. Men like him rarely do, but he lost the thing he loved most, control. He became careful. Smaller. His name started to sound different in rooms, like a warning. My father's name was cleared posthumously. Judge said it plainly: fraud, forgery, malice. I framed the ruling, hung it by my door. I still work at the diner for now. Like the smell of coffee, like watching people underestimate meat, reminds me of how this all started. Sometimes I replay the moment in my head, the drop of the glass, the way the sound cut through the room. That was the exact second the story changed hands. This is my confession, I guess not of guilt, of precision. Betrayal taught me restraint, grief taught me focus, power taught me patience and revenge. Real revenge taught me that the most satisfying endings are quiet. I didn't scream, didn't biggie, didn't break. I waited. I watched. I signed my name to the truth. And this time, the hook was mine.